Hi, welcome to Tea Time with Amy and Bev. Good
Good
day.
day.
What's happening, Miss Bev?
What's happening? I don't know, lots of different stuff. One of the biggest realizations I'm having this morning is we can do anything we want to do. Anything. We can do anything. We could, I mean, Freeman's been getting me. I just had my birthday, so it's like every time I turn around, there's another book laying. Like he's written down all these different books, and like I'll leave the room and I get them. And I'm like, oh, that's cool. Okay, so I'm checking that one out. Next thing you know, I come back in the room a day later. There's another book, and there's another book, and then there's another book. It's so hilarious. All this stuff is happening, but we can do all these things. And this is about psychic development, psychic abilities, astral traveling, ancient teachings, and Akashic records. Like there's a lot of stuff. If we get any nuggets, and these are quick read books, so which I like.
Yeah.
But with all that being said, it's just recognizing we can do all these things. If you can't do these things, it's like, what do you have in your, what do you have in your story that's telling you that you're not able to do these things? So that's kind of the place that I'm at right now. And it's like a big wow, right? I've caught myself in my limiting conversation with another person. I've caught myself doing these things, limiting myself, from a space that's not even a true story. That's an old story. It doesn't even exist anymore. That's a not worthy story, but it's funny how it shows up. So that's kind of where I'm at. It just seems like there's so much stuff going on. It's funny because when we go to do these get together and have our conversation, I'm like, I have no idea what we're going to talk about. And from that space, it can feel a little bit like, oh God, I don't know what's going to happen. How is this conversation going to go? Is this going to be exciting? Is it not going to be exciting? You know what I mean? For a lot of this stuff. And then the other side of me is like, we don't have to do anything. And things are always going to show up because they always show up. It's just whatever is relevant, whatever our audience needs to hear right now.
Yeah.
And that's something else I've recognized too. So if I'm going to put a sign up that says, I'm a psychic intuitive, a psychic channeler, I'm a whatever, medical. So medical mediumship or evidential mediumship and all this type of stuff, no matter how that shows up, if I say that I'm going to do that, that brings an audience or that brings groups to come see me specifically for that, whatever I'm saying that I'm doing, right? And now there's a wanting. So now when a person shows up, they have a certain asking or a desire that they want. And now I have an opportunity, we all can do this, to be in that space to bring forward whatever that person needs at that moment that's going to be beneficial for them. And sometimes that is massage. Sometimes that's just a smile. Sometimes that is words. Sometimes it's a hug, right? You just did your hugging class. Sometimes it's just all these little things. There's so many little things, but it's helping build a bigger picture. I'm receiving information lately, and how I know it's not my information, and this is how amazing it is, because it's so subtle and I don't recognize that the conversation was happening. But I might be over cleaning a litter box because when I'm cleaning litter boxes, I seem to have stuff go through my mind. And I heard, well, she's Moxie. And I'm like, Moxie? Like I'm hearing this conversation in my head, but it's my voice that I hear, but these are not my words because I don't use the word Moxie. I don't. I had to go look it up because I had no idea what it meant.
So what does it mean?
Well, it means to be confident. It means to be this, like she has Moxie, she can do these things. And it's so hilarious, right? It's so
Okay.
hilarious how this stuff shows up. So I go and look it up, and that's just kind of like a basic thing, how it hit me, that it's about standing in her confidence or, whatever they were talking about. And I don't know what we were talking about at that time, but that's my point. If we're not paying attention to our thoughts and listen, you and I have been talking about this for a while, that we have these conversations and we receive this information. Well, even me that has been receiving this information and knows that I'm receiving this information is not always aware that I'm receiving information until I have awareness and stop and pay attention to it. And they got my attention by using the word Moxie because I don't use it. They get my attention. I don't. They get my attention by telling me the word choline, which is something that supports the liver, and there's a bunch of other benefits for it too. But there's a reason that these words come up, right? It is because it's something in my asking that's beneficial for my body that I've asked about choline. So or gelatin. Gelatin's another thing that came forward, which is another branch of something else. But it was something that I was told specifically to get, so I had started taking it. So it's just like all these things. So it blows my mind. Go back to the books, right? We think that we can't do these things, but when you're open and you just kind of you're not even trying to control it or trying to be like, it wasn't like I was sitting here meditating, like this is the stuff that's going to come through. No, I'm cleaning the litter boxes, moving meditation. So I'm slightly distracted, making sure I get all the stuff done, not trying to force or do anything. And I'm having a dialogue inside my head, a conversation. And I don't remember what my part of it was and how it was showing up. But that's how the information comes through, so subtly, so easily. I just got to be just being in awareness of it, present with the conversation.
I just had a thought that with that, when you're receiving that information, knowing that it's flowing to you more and more, to sit with a pen and paper, and those whether it's a passage or a poem or whatever might come up, is just share it with social media. This is a channeling by Bev, or whatever you want to call it, and just share some of that, because some of that might be relevant to the people you're connected with.
Yeah. And I feel like it's kind of like it's helping me to recognize that I can do all these things already, right? Back to the books, same thing. I can do all those things already, but they're giving little subtle ideas, little quick little thoughts of like, okay, I want you to close your eyes. I want you to see right now a chalkboard in front of you. And I want you to see you draw in a circle, and I could see the circle. Put your first initial in that circle, put it in there. You see it. I could see it. For me, that's easy, right? Because I've been practicing seeing things. I'm a visual person, and not everybody is, but you can be. So it's just a matter of figuring out, again, go back to the conversation that I started with. We think that we can't do these things because we have a block, we have a limit that we've put in place, that maybe when we were a kid that we thought that was going to protect us, keep us safe, but we don't have to have all these things. Or maybe someone ridiculed you because you said something that spirit told you, or that you saw, or whatever. It doesn't matter. But it's just being in that space, and then it says, go ahead and erase your initial out of there. So I could see all this stuff, and then erase this. Okay, congratulations, you just did visualization, and you're helping to teach yourself more. I just feel like it's the universe's way of saying, okay, Bev, you've had an asking, this is what's going on. And now they're making sure that I can discern between what I'm receiving versus what I'm just thinking. So it's awesome. So this journey, right? We've talked about it all the time. Esther Hicks started talking about it years ago, and I heard her a few years back. And it's like, okay, enjoy the journey, enjoy the journey. What the hell? Like, enjoy the journey. Sometimes the journey's not enjoyable. It doesn't feel like it. But then when you recognize that nothing's positive or negative, everything is just something, a negative thing that we might perceive as negative. It's just another, like a rock in the middle of a stream. Just steer around it, witness it, and then you're beyond it. So it's just, there's just so much stuff that's going on right now for me, I feel like. But I've had the asking. I think that I've had the asking for it, but I realized that it's actually been calling me. So it's planting that desire in me, because for so many years of my life, this makes me kind of emotional. For so many years of my life, I would never have acknowledged these things, because first of all, it could be something that could be taken away from me. You know, maybe I didn't deserve it, whatever. There's a conversation that I was having with myself that kept me from that space.
Yeah. And those books that you have, those topics, I've read them like 30 years ago. Probably not the same book, because so many books have been written since then. And it comes back to basics, and it's about what author is going to resonate with you in sharing their information and their experience, sharing the information from their perspective and their perspective of teaching through their words, and how it resonates with you. And so I love to hear people's stories. And I think that's probably why I read so many books, because I wanted to hear everybody's stories and their experiences, but they were all saying the same thing. And it's all of that is basics. And
all of it.
But
that's where we need to get back to, is the basics.
Yeah. And even myself, it's like something that I did at the beginning of my healing journey, and learning about this spiritual space and all the stuff, 30 years later, it's like I still have to go back to those basics, to those simpler things, the tools, because that's the foundation. And we want to build a good foundation. We want to build a sturdy foundation in whatever it is we're doing. So Yeah. So enjoy the books.
Yeah, just little nuggets, really. And it's just easy stuff to meditate on. And then it's like, see yourself painting a picture. You know what I mean? And I'm just saying that right now because that's just something that kind of flashed in my mind. How exciting is that? I don't have to physically paint a picture out here where everybody can see. I can paint a picture in my mind. And what
Mhm.
does that look like? And then that brings forward something within you into your reality. Gave me goosebumps. It's just me talking through myself to myself, and then anyone else that wants to be around to benefit from it, congratulations. If it benefits you, you know what I mean? So this is an interesting path, and I'm noticing that a lot of times, don't talk to yourself because it sounds crazy, right? No, talk to yourself. That's just another separation from yourself. Talking to yourself is amazing because I'm telling you, this is my dialogues happen verbally, orally. I'm orating outside of myself, but then I'm having conversations within myself too, the whole time. So it's just this whole journey. That's how we know that we're removing stuff those blocks. That's how we know because the next part of it shows up. It blows my mind right now, only because when we have these conversations, it helps me be aware of where I'm coming from, what I've experienced, that I'm bringing it. And it's not just now in my experience, I'm actually talking about it. I'm excited about it. It feels good.
Yeah.
It feels good. It's following your passions. And when you've been stifling yourself or holding yourself at such a level for so long to not allow yourself to have, don't let anybody see that you're too excited. Don't seem too happy, because some people that aren't happy, they ain't gonna like it. Not rocking the boat. And now it's like, well, this is my boat, and if you're not happy on my boat, you probably should go find your own.
Don't stand up in my rocking boat because you're gonna fall out, and that's your choice.
That's right. That's right. If you're not having a good time, then you're out. You out.
Out you go. Here's a life vest. Yeah.
It's awesome.
And like you said, you were cleaning litter box and stuff is coming to you. That happens in the shower. It happens when I'm driving.
Yeah.
Uh, over the weekend, I took on a task. It's fairly big task, and I'm still in the process of it. But it was a time to just be. Like, even though I was doing something, I was in it and being in it, right? And really, I actually noticed after a little bit, I was like, wow, I wasn't thinking about my business. I wasn't thinking about any quote unquote problems. I was just being in what I was doing, and it was all good.
Yeah.
And it was enjoyable and it was relaxing. Even though it was a big task, it was relaxing because I was just being in it. And in those moments like that, so that's why people have hobbies and they're focused on what they're doing because they're enjoying it so much. That's when that information can flow. And a lot of people, we even talk about it, is like, just sit and be quiet for a few moments. Well, if that's not working for you, what's the hobby? What's the thing that you enjoy doing that's going to have your full attention? Because that is similar to meditating. It's going to allow you to open up that space to let information in, which could be the solution to your problem or the next step or the pivot you have, it's important to make. So it can come in so many different ways. And I've heard even like teachers, spiritual teachers that I've listened to, they're like, I keep a shower marker. They keep a marker in the shower because that's when information comes and they got to write it down so they don't forget it.
Nice. Nice. And I didn't even know. Yeah. Cause same. I might jump out of the shower real quick and write it on the mirror because I didn't know that, with a permanent marker. So that's interesting. I like that because stuff flows all the time.
Yeah.
It's flowing all the time, but are we receiving it? Are we aware of it?
Yeah. I was just listening to Abraham Hicks this morning, and it was you're sending out these rockets of desires, and your asks, your questions are being answered all the time. And if you miss the answer, then something else is going to get your attention. You're going to move. And in that space, that new space you're in, we're going to send the information again only now it's got to be diverted through where you're at that time. And if you miss it, then you're going to make another decision to do something else. And so the answers are always coming. You just seem to be getting further and further away from the original rocket of desire. I mean, these are the way I'm explaining it. It's not the way they explained it. And so your original ask, right? Your original desire, the universe still working on it, but because you keep moving and shifting and changing directions, they're still bringing the information, but now there's a bigger gap. And then you think it's not happening, it's not working, it's not, I'm not getting what I want. And the truth is, it's always there. It's always right here, right here, right here, right now. If we allow it.
Yeah. Well, not just going back to this morning, I was having a conversation with Freeman, and I was like, as soon as we think that we're doing something wrong, oh, like I shouldn't eat this food, we negate things. We're automatically creating our own problems right that moment, right? You're present, you're enjoying that cake you're eating right now. You're enjoying your eggs and your hash browns and your bacon and everything. You're enjoying that. Why turn around and make it something negative? Because as soon as we do that, we've actually made it a negative. We've actually created negativity from that food with our thoughts. Otherwise, it's just food. It has no energy. It's not out to get us. You know what I mean? So it's just really processing a lot of that stuff. It's really processing how do you think you don't deserve it? And then asking yourself questions. Why do you think you don't deserve that? Okay, universe, show me the blocks within inside of myself that no longer serve me. Because they're not, I mean, sometimes blocks do serve you. Maybe it keeps you from going into a dangerous situation that you've already experienced. I don't know. But it's for you to start having discernment. It's for you to start asking questions. And I not mean you, but our audience, whoever is listening to our conversations, whoever happens to come across this.
You don't know, you might be talking to me.
That's true. And assuming what someone else might think or something like that, because their filter system is a little bit different than your system, right? Because you've had different experiences than the other experiences. So it's just learning how to be. It's learning more about the self. And we go back to the same conversation as we've had in the last few weeks. It's being aware of what you're thinking. It's being aware of the energy you're putting out. It's being aware of how do you feel about yourself. Well, if you feel that way about yourself, then what can you do that looks different than what you're doing right now? It's just exploring possibilities. It's asking questions. It's because we're not okay just being right where it's at. It's like you asked, having the statements to yourself, like there's got to be more to life than this. And that propels us forward.
And it took some sifting and clearing of some emotional baggage for me to see there is more to life than this, right? More to life than the pain and the agony and the suffering and all the stuff. I had to clear some stuff so that I could see that there is more to life, and now make that a part of, or make it available as part of what I teach. Because I know there's like millions of people on the planet thinking the same thing. What the hell am I here for? What is my purpose? Why am I going through this? And there's reasons.
And now I'm feeling like those desires, when we got that, like, what is my purpose? It's helping to pull us forward. The desires are coming from spirit to help bring us forward, because we want something different. We know there's something different. So it's like they're there the whole time. That whole time they're trying to bring us forward, always.
Yeah.
For our benefit, because it's not just for us, it's for the greater good of all, for everybody, for everything.
And the more we shift and yesterday I came out, I was talking, and I, instead of saying showed up, I said shined up. So it's my new word, shined up. So the more we
that, I got to write that down.
Yeah, the more we shine up in ourselves, it is collectively, it's just so impactful and so worth it. And the more we shine, the more we brighten up our light and our spirit. It's not just your your immediate environment that shifts and changes. It ripples out and it affects the population and the planet. So the more we come into alignment individually with solutions and focusing on solutions, the more we are contributing to the energy of solutions on a collective level. And sometimes that might be too big to grasp or comprehend, but you're just emanating that vibration out. You're solution oriented. So you have that solution oriented vibration flowing out away from you, which has a ripple effect. And it's amazing. It's very interesting to witness it too. When you're working on yourself and doing your own inner work, and you're not telling anybody what you're doing, but the people around you start shifting and changing, and some leave your life and new people come in, and these new people, you resonate with, and it's an incredible process. And when they say it's a dance, it absolutely is a dance. And are you going to do lock and pop, or are you going to flow, right? Are you going to, like ballerinas, how do you want to dance?
That's true. You can jump in the mosh pit if you want to.
Right.
You can go do some ballet. It's like whatever you want to do. Whatever you want to do, it's your choice.
The tap, you do tap and get into it. Fast moving.
Because that would fit whatever your energy is, like, right? I mean, because to me that seems like energy would play a big role in that. Just whatever you're attracted to, just like music and stuff, whatever you attracted to. When I used to be in a bad mood, I'd play my Metallica or whatever. Or if I wanted to go clean the house, I would use that, probably because at that time, not even realizing I'm using that same energy of that anger to get me through the whole house and get it all clean, and like, yeah, I'm taking care of this stuff. Yeah.
In the meantime, you're mad at everybody else because they're not helping you, but you didn't ask for their help. But it's just a vicious cycle.
It is, and true story. True. But where do we learn it from somewhere else? And that's when we go through this healing and we're recognizing every single part of this journey that we've been on, and how it came from our parents, and then how it came from them, and how we don't have to carry it anymore. It's not even ours. And then when you release all that stuff, how it affects, like you said, it goes out so big, but it hits your family because that's close to home, right? That hits your family and it changes them from where they're looking at their perspective on things. And then it ripples out to everybody. It's a benefit to everybody.
Yeah. And that's funny. Because over the weekend when I was doing my project, I had the summer hits of the 80s on.
Yeah.
And it's just good, memories coming up, and then some songs would come on, and I would now, more aware, listening to the words, I'm like, and it wasn't oh, that's negative, I didn't get into that defensive type of mode.
Yeah.
I listened to the words, and I was thinking the era, right? The time when the songs were written. And then and I was thinking about the types of movies that were created, and these songs were in them. And then it was thinking about the people who wrote the songs. It's like, what kind of space were they in to bring these lyrics forward in this way of expression? And so I just found it fascinating. I caught myself doing that. And it was, so I wasn't contributing to the angst and offensiveness or negativity or anything like that. It was an awareness of those people and where they were at that time.
Yeah. Whatever emotion was in the energy of that creation.
Yeah. And so, I've listened, I've had clients who like the hard metal and angry music, and they're like, I gotta listen to that when I'm mad. I'm like, okay, that's your choice. And What's
A
that?
bird just was chasing a moth and it hit the window, and I saw it coming up, and I was like, and then I heard it. It just kind of scared me. What does that even mean?
Oh, what does that mean? Um, and so, I'm like, that's great. That's your choice. And you're totally allowed to do that. It's not a judgment. I'm more on that non-judgmental side of things. And while you're listening to that and in that energy and feeling the emotion of those words, you're putting that out into your
Yeah,
environment.
yeah.
You're putting that
Creator.
into your community. And so once you realize energetically what you're doing, do you want to keep doing that? Because then you become a vibrational match to more of it. And they just sit there and look at me. And of course, most of the time, because of new in the them being new in the learning process of all of this about energy and vibrational frequency and all that, because I've done it too, was argue for my limitations. Right. Well, I was mad and I needed that kind of music, and I just had to get after it and do. Okay, it's your choice, right? Again, no judgment. And you're emitting that energy out into your environment and your community. So again, I ask, is that, it's like, do you want to keep contributing to the energy of fear or the heavy emotional path, or do you want to contribute to more of a kind, gentle, loving path? And we get to choose that. But we get so in our belief systems and the need to be right about how we're feeling that it's so easy to get consumed by those heavy emotions, because that is what we know. 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 And we know what to expect from it. I don't know what it means to be relaxed. I don't know what it means to not judge somebody. I don't know what it means to, show up with more kindness. Kind to myself, right? Be nice to myself. I don't know what that means. And so I'm not going to do it because I don't know what to expect from that. And that's okay. It's a learning curve. It's a learning process and takes practice. So.
And I don't know opens you up to receiving information to help you with knowing.
Yeah.
To help you discern.
So instead of saying I don't know, it could be I know there's help readily available for me.
Yeah. And I know when we're in those spaces, because we've all been in those spaces, it's hard to see anything else, and anybody else trying to tell you something otherwise is almost like pushing against.
Yeah.
And then so what do we feel like when you're already in that space of something pushing against you? Just automatically push right back.
Right.
Until you're aware, and then you step back, and then you don't have to be a party to that. You can just be aware of someone else having the experience, because we've had that experience. Somebody else was probably aware of us having our experience.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure, because that's part of the journey. It's part of the journey as we go along. And then it's like you say, it's to be neutral in that space. It's not to give anything one way or the other, because as soon as we do, now we're attached to an outcome, and we're not beneficial for that person either, let alone ourselves.
And just to get better and better in myself so I can show up better. That's my goal.
Yeah. Always.
And so that definitely takes a lot of self-awareness.
Which is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. But the training has not been that way. The training has been everything. You look at everybody else beside yourself, take care of everybody else beside yourself, work your butt off just to support your family for 50 hours a week, and not get ahead or whatever your thoughts are, or whatever your experience is. For me, I was always on the hustle. I was always on the hustle, but really not really on the hustle. I was always working my job, making the money. I wasn't trying anything else outside of that. So we haven't talked about it for a long time ago, but procrastination on things, right? So things have been coming up for me. Talking to a client, and her and her daughter are getting their passports taken care of, and passport Freeman's brought up numerous times. I've just blown it off, blown it off, blown it off. I could have actually got mine taken care of last year just by renewing mine instead because it had expired, but it was still within the time frame. And I didn't do it. So but all of a sudden I have this urge, like I know it's time I have to get this taken care of. It's
Yeah.
like right now, there's no choice. So I'm going in Wednesday. Right. So it's just part of and then that felt good. And it's like, okay, I'm like, okay, what else have I forgotten and not taken care of? Because how do I know something's changed within inside of me? Because I have these desires now. I have these desires because I'm feeling pulled in that direction. I was meant to be exactly where I've been at this whole time, but now suddenly I'm being pulled in another direction. What does it look like? I don't know. Right now, I just know I'm going to be getting my passport taken care of. I'm taking care of my birth certificates because I'm going to get it authenticated and some other things, which people could do their own research on that. And what's the benefits of that? I'm not going to go into any of that stuff, but it's just, I'm in the process of doing these things. I'm just doing it, period. It's not on the back burner anymore. It's not, because what do? We negate ourselves. Oh, I don't have enough money for that right now. So what the universe will create, not enough money for you right now. I say the universe will create it, but you're the one that created it.
Yeah.
I was the one that created it. So working on, okay, the universe is always bringing me money. Everything's always working out. Everything's always working out. This is what needs to be taken care of right now. I have to drive a desire that has to be happening right now. It's my passion because I'm learning what passion even feels like for me because I haven't had that my whole life because I didn't allow myself to have emotions besides anger. So here we are. So now I'm like that baby that's learning how to crawl. And now I'm kind of walking and stuff. I'm actually starting to learn how to run. And that's where it starts to get a little bit crazy because you can feel it. You can feel the energy within yourself as it's building up. And I can feel this energy building up. And I know something's about to transpire that's like so huge and it's going to be so fast that I'm like, okay, I'm holding on tight. I'm ready for it. This is how you were last year.
Yep.
You don't know exactly how things are going to play out, but something you could feel the energy. It's building up within inside of you. You have this desire. And the thing for me was early on when I would start getting this stuff, I would get frustrated because nothing was transpiring from those feelings. And now it's just, I'm staying in the feelings. I'm feeling those feelings and I'm riding along with it. I'm not trying to figure out where it's going. I'm not trying to navigate through the map out the door. Don't even need it anymore because they're going to guide me wherever I need to go to anyways. My higher self knows exactly my plans that when I came to this planet to be the human, to run around in this human skin, knew exactly what the plan was. And me coming here thinking I know everything is great when you could say, I don't know. I don't know. Go ahead, take the wheel. Jesus, take the wheel.
Take.
It doesn't matter. It's just letting go and going along with the flow of it. And then it's like, then and only then for me has it become fun and exciting.
Yeah.
Me trying to control it does not feel fun and exciting. It feels like a lot of letdowns because then I have an attachment again back to the outcome of something that I have absolutely zero idea where it's going and what it looks like.
Yeah, that attachment gets us, doesn't it?
It certainly can. But we've learned that having attachment, it's all been learned. It's not that we're doing anything wrong. So anybody that's watching this, don't think, oh God, I do that. Oh, I've done that. That's okay. Yeah, it's not a big deal, but it's like, how do we evolve from that? Well, that's a great question to ask yourself. Ask each person needs to ask themselves that individually. They don't need to, but they can, and it opens up more doorways. I don't like the word need, but it just goes to show you how often I've heard it in my life that I'm still using it.
Yeah.
Breaking away, but it's not a big deal. Oh, there it was again. I just used it again. It's not a big deal. So I'm not going to be using it forever. It's unnecessary. It's limiting. Talk about limiting. So we know where we live and I'm sitting out, I live out basically in the middle of a desert. Kind of. It's not even just like desert. It's just beautiful. But anyways, I look out there. So because I'm labeling it right now, just as soon as I say desert, if I sit out there and I look towards town or whatever that would look like, I see the mountains, I see the lights and stuff. I could be anywhere. It doesn't even matter where I'm at right now. If I'm in a space of noticing that everything's beautiful right now, it's great. When I start labeling things, then it kind of limits them and they don't feel the same way. That's something I've been feeling. And I've noticed, I'm like, wow, otherwise town looks like I could be anywhere. I could be on the outskirts of, I mean, gosh, I could be anywhere really that would maybe resemble environment that I'm in to be able to have the views that I have. I could be anywhere. So why have I limited myself by, oh, that's just town, or that's just Kingman, or that's just, whatever, it's just whatever. And it's because as soon as I do that, then I've got a definition of the word Kingman. I've got an idea what that looks like. And now as soon as I have that idea, I'm looking at it through that idea glasses,
Yeah.
instead of just looking at it without any labels at all, and just witnessing the beauty of it all. And that's when I was noticing that there was a beauty in it.
And you can look out that same view and not notice anything
True.
because you're so consumed by your thoughts. And I bring that up so that people recognize that we could be in the most luscious, beautiful place, which you can create anywhere, by the way. But you can be in this beautiful place and not be there and not see it. And that's just being consumed by your thoughts and worries and concerns and past history and all the crap. And instead of allowing yourself to be in this beautiful space and embrace it and enjoy it and relish in it.
Because it is beautiful. It really is.
Yeah, there was a point where my mom lived in the Midwest for a minute, and she was trying to get me to move back there as well, and I had my reasons. I told her, but I said, Mom, I like the desert. I mean, it's so cool. And she's like, it's so bland. I said, oh, there's so much beauty. There's so much if you open yourself up to it.
100%.
And when the seasons, well, let's put it, when it rains, it's amazing the beauty that shows up. Right. So being aware that you're seeing these views, whether you're looking out a window, you're sitting on a beach, it doesn't matter. You're seeing these views through your eyes. And whether you're taking in the beauty or not, it's going to be determined by what is going on within yourself. What are you thinking about? How are you feeling? And then it's, again, a choice as to, are you going to be in that moment and embrace what your view is, or are you going to be in that moment consumed by the trials and tribulations of the pain and the struggle? And it's the same view, but it's not the same. I mean, right where I'm sitting, I'm looking out a window and I see the side of a house. There's no block, there's no wall between us or anything. I'm like literally looking at the side of a house. And I see this sliver of sky and a little piece of tree over here. And I could be frustrated that that's my view. Like, really? But at the same time, I see birds flying and I see every once in a while, I'll see a cat go by, and when the storm rolls in, I get to see the clouds, and when the breeze is going, I can see the tree moving. And like, there's so much I can just take in from my viewpoint. But what's going to matter is, how am I feeling within myself that's going to ignite the way I'm viewing what I see. And that also pertains to the information that's flowing to you. Right? You could say, what the hell's moxie? That's a goofy word. Why would I even say that? Why would that even come? Like, you could just totally negate that information coming to you. Or like Bev had the curiosity and I would have looked up the word. I'm like, what the hell does moxie mean? I don't even know what that is. So why would I get that? And I go look up for the word. So I'm right there with you on that. But it's similar. When the information comes to you, you can negate it or be curious.
And something else that came from that too. So channeling, I've listened to a few different channelers, and they'll talk about, well, they chose me because I have such a huge vocabulary or whatever. And then, so that's where one of my doubts came in. It's like, well, maybe I don't have a huge vocabulary. because I don't use all these words. I've learned a lot of words in my lifetime, but maybe I don't have the same, because I didn't have the desire that they had as a desire. So then I felt like something was wrong with me. And then that was another way of reassuring me. I don't have to have those. I don't have to have these words. I don't have to have them. The collective consciousness has access to the vocabulary. They have access to everything. So for me, that was also limiting, but then I was limiting myself with that belief. And so that was one of the ways. It's like, oh, first of all, they had to get me with a word that I don't know so that I could, because it would get my attention and be like, wait a minute, I'm doing this. This is what's already happening. I'm already receiving information. Now, how to be in that space on a regular basis, or it's not even how to, I'm in that space on a regular basis. Just like you were saying, if you were present and you were doing this, you were just focused on everything inside that moment, me cleaning litter boxes, you doing your task. When you're totally in it and you're paying attention to it, you're receiving information already. And then it just depends on what's around you. But for me, on the other side of that it was showing me words that I don't use and I don't know, that I had to go look up, showing me that I don't have to know that vocabulary. It will flow through me. The information will flow through me as needed. Now, I might be using a dictionary, looking that up if I have an awareness of that channeling going through myself, because afterwards I'd be like, what is that? Or maybe I would just get a feel what the definition of the word really was intended for in the first place. And it's like, it's an old word. It's just not even something. It reminds me of like the black and whites, the shows I used to watch all the time. It was all in black and white.
Like the Roaring
The
20s or
movies.
something.
Yeah, like all that stuff. Because
Ah, she's so
I
Moxie.
love that. I love that stuff when I was a kid, right? I mean, I really did. I loved all that black and white stuff. I love those movies. I watched them all. They were innocent movies in comparison to the movies that we watch that are on now these days. It's all about trying to get your attention and have a reaction from you. And then if you think about it, a lot of times parents are parenting, trying to get a reaction out of their child. Their child misbehaved, they're going to beat their ass until they get the reaction out of them. They're going to take their stuff away until they get the reaction out of them. So we've been trained. That's just another way we've been trained. It's just been going on all along. And then we think that's normal, all the way to our movies.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't like to watch any movies unless I feel like it's going to be beneficial for my growth. I don't really care to watch anything. I don't.
Yeah.
So I go by feels on stuff. And so I'm learning to feel things going through this world instead of, first of all, assuming. I've assumed a lot about a lot of people because in my experience, that's what it would have been right. But it wasn't right. And how do I know? Because I don't know. I don't know. So that's how the possibilities can come to me now. Instead of me thinking that I knew oh no, don't even try to tell me because I already know. Because that was me.
Yep. Yep. I know. You get the head going and the eyebrows up. I know.
Yeah, exactly. But guess what? Now it's like, no, I don't know.
Then you turn around, you're like, "Shit, they were right." And I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
And you know what? And then even looking back as a teenager, fighting against the world and not knowing why I was fighting against it. I wasn't fighting against the world, really. I had this motivation to go forward, right? But I was pushing and going through it instead of realizing like what I'm realizing now. It's like all those examples that we had for living our life were not very good examples. There's other ways to look at life differently. And it could have just been an asking instead of me pushing through all that stuff. And now I'm finally to the point where it's at an asking, it's at a receiving, it's at a just being, just doing, enjoying the space, enjoying what I'm looking at outside, whatever it might be, without labeling it. That's been huge for me.
And
Just that,
those
and you don't realize how limiting it is by using the label on something.
Yeah. And those experiences and those people were just showing up to encourage us as littles, to remind us who we are, who we were, and who we are, in the sense of having that connection to the all-knowing and all the answers and all the guidance. But the human experiences, it pushes you to that edge. Like, you just throw your hands up. I don't know what the purpose of this life is. I don't know why I'm here. What the hell? Right? Most people would say, what the hell, God? Why are you doing this to me? I did that too. And I know it pushed me, my human experiences pushed me to keep asking that question. Is there more to life than this? Because this absolutely, positively, without a doubt, sucks big time, and I don't like it. And I can't even imagine living this way till I take my last breath. That in itself is hell. That is torture. I was torturing myself constantly through my thoughts and emotions, and I didn't want to live like that. I didn't want to live the rest of my life like that. I did not want to be on on this planet living in that kind of space within myself. And so it pushed me to ask, is there more to life than this? The answers came, and then it was my choice to follow the information that was coming to me. If it resonated, great, I took it and I utilized it. If it didn't resonate with me or I didn't understand it at the time, it got set aside. Come back to it later if it need to, or it's not going to be a part of my being. It just depends on how it unfolds, right? And that's just the way I've been living since about my early 30s. Learn something. If it feels good, I implement it. If it doesn't feel good at the time, I set it aside. There's more information for me to get the answer to my question. What is it? And then more information would come, learn it, implement it if it resonated, or set it aside. Like, that's been my process. And that's why Bev and I come and have these conversations. We share what has worked for us. If you feel it resonates with you, implement it. And if it doesn't, put it aside. Maybe you know somebody else who would desire the information that we're bringing forward, and you're hearing it because you're going to have a conversation with that person, and you're going to go, oh yeah, Amy and Bev had this conversation about this, and here, go watch this video, go listen to their conversation. There's a reason why we received the information. There's a reason why Bev has that stack of books. There's something in it for her, but there's probably a lot more in it for the people who's going to cross her path. There's a lot more in it for conversations that we're going to have.
100%.
It all has a purpose. We all have a purpose. Every one of us on this planet has a purpose.
Absolutely. And it's individual too, but it's also for the collective. Like,
right.
it's for everybody. I heard something that somebody was channeling. They said something. Well, why do you care about us? So let's just say that the person that he was talking to is like an alien or whatever that was alien to him, right? Way off into the future. But it's saying, I just drew a blank all of a sudden.
Why do you care about us?
Oh, why do you care about us? And it's because we're for their growth too. Because when we evolve, they evolve. When they evolve, we evolve. It all goes together. All of it's working together. We're helping the collective consciousness just by being here in a physical body. It's not even just for us on an individual basis to learn and grow and do and be more. It's for the collective.
Yeah. And I mean, when you start expanding it out as to, well, if I not if, but when I shift my energy, it affects my home environment, the people in my home. It affects my animals. And it expands out beyond that. It expands out to my neighbors, to my community, to my state, to the nation, around the world, to people on the planet. Like, that can get so big in your head, and you're like, wait, I'm just one person. And I don't want that responsibility. The only responsibility you have is the responsibility to yourself, because the rest is automatic. You don't have to do anything with that. You don't even have to think about it. What matters is that your responsibility is, do you want to feel peaceful? What do you need to do to get to that state? Do you want to feel joy? What do you need to get to that state? If you want to feel excitement, exhilaration, what do you need to do to get to that state? That is your focus. That is your responsibility. And when you get into those emotional states that feel good, it automatically ripples out. There's nothing else you have to do. It's just focus on your container.
Absolutely. Love it.
So when you get your head wrapped around it affects the entire population and the planet. So that means all living things on the planet as well. It would be like, I don't want that kind of responsibility. Well, however you're feeling right now is already doing that. But again, noticing and having the awareness, is it on the path of the fear, or is it on the path of the love? Because whichever direction it is, that's what you're feeding to the planet and the population. And so if you're feeding it fear, then you're in that space of the anger, resentment, judgment, shame, guilt, worry, anxiety. You're in that space of calm and excitement and love and joy and fun. There's those two avenues, and it's having the awareness, how am I feeling right now? And it is all about your perception. It's how you're seeing through your eyes based on the stories that you have within yourself of all your human experiences on this planet in this lifetime, how you're viewing what you're witnessing, what you're hearing. What eyes are you viewing that from? Because it could ball up more anger and stress, or it could ball up some compassion and kindness. Same situation. How are you viewing it? The information that's coming to you, is it pissing you off? Or you're like, oh, I'm curious to know more about this.
And even if it's still pissing you off, be curious to know more about this.
Still
right?
be curious about it.
Exactly. And be neutral about it, because then you can kind of, then it's like, wait a minute, oh, that just got my attention. Because that's all it was. It was just, you watch Suzanne Giesemann and she'll be talking and she'll be like, oh, they just grabbed my attention. That's just another way it grabbed your attention so that you can look at it. It's like, do I need to carry this in my luggage anymore? I don't need this for Hawaii. I don't need it. I'm going to go ahead and throw it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. It served me well. I'm going to go ahead and donate it now. I don't need that anymore. Right?
Yeah.
So fun.
It is fun. It is. And then the more you lean into being curious about yourself and about experiences, it releases that attachment of the heaviness, the heavy emotions that you're bringing into your life, carrying it forward. So, I had this conversation with a lady yesterday, and I use the analogy of a coyote and a rabbit. And you think about it, the rabbit is hopping around or chewing on some grass, just doing his thing. It's all calm, just enjoying the moment. And their alert says there's danger. That's an energetic vibration. They heard something, got their awareness, or smelled something, whatever, however rabbits operate. But that energetic vibration of there's danger, now I'm on high alert. And then the coyote chases the rabbit runs like hell, gets away. Yay, thank God. But the rabbit gets away, the coyote goes in another direction. And then the rabbit goes back to hopping along, chewing some grass, doing his thing. And the coyote is now somewhere else. It's been defeated in that moment. And now it's going to go look somewhere else. The rabbit is not taking a hop and then stopping and freezing and looking over its shoulder. Where's the coyote? Is the coyote still around, right? No, it's hopping along, doing its thing, because they have this energetic vibration of knowing when there's danger to put them on high alert. So they have to run. That's how animals operate. We as humans, we have an experience 50 years ago that's embedded in our memory that we carry forward for 50 years. And we're always on high alert because that's stored in our body. We're on high alert that danger is around us all the time, and we're always looking for it, and we're always anticipating it. We're not enjoying the moment. So it's the beauty of being human and the beauty of being able to utilize our brain for what we choose to use it for. But if we store that information in our body, we're constantly on high alert. Whereas animals, there's the danger, they're out of danger, there's the release, they're back to whatever they were doing. or moving on to whatever's next, right? They're just,
Yeah.
okay, I can relax now. I'm gonna go back to feeding because I'm still hungry. And now I just ran like hell. Now I need to eat some more. Right? So, I mean, it's just when we put that into comparison, it's I laugh about it because I mean, to me, it's silly at what we do to ourselves. It really is. But I'm guilty of it, as just like most of the planet, I am guilty of doing those exact same things and still have those some memories stored in my body that are still having the opportunity to surface so I can look at them. But if we took on the life's not lifestyle, but um well, reaction, not reactions. I'm not pulling the word, but if we took on the behaviors of animals, all right, this person got excited, got belligerent, and they're having a bad day. Okay. Doesn't directly affect me, but all right, I'm witness to it. And now that I'm witness to it, I make it part of my story. And then I go talk to everybody about it all day long. And it ruins my day because, and now this person has power over me because I'm giving all this time and attention and energy to somebody I don't even know, but they ruin my day. Or, oh, they're having a bad day. I hope whatever they're going through, that they have some ease and grace for themselves and move through it. And it's for their highest and greatest good, and everybody can learn from it. And I sit here and enjoy my lunch. A super yummy salad, whatever it is. I'm gonna enjoy this conversation. I'm gonna enjoy the scenery.
100%. Because it's what's right in front of you. It's being aware and being present right now, not being anywhere else. And it reminds me of kids and animals are a lot similar because they will have their temper tantrums and then they're over it and they're ready to go on and do their own thing.
That's like a light switch, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then as a parent or whoever's watching, we're just like in a frenzy for the rest. Oh my God, it's just, it consumes us for hours.
And that's a good question because when you were saying that stuff, it's like, how many people even know how it feels to not be in fight or flight all the time? How
Right.
many people, your breathing changes, my breaths, I take deeper breaths now, more frequently. I
Okay.
don't, and when I catch, but now I can even actually have an awareness when I'm holding. I'm like, okay, I'm going to go ahead and do that. And then I stop for a second. I feel my body and I can feel it all tensed up at my solar plexus, all that power right there. So I take a deep breath and I kind of just blow it out and then let it go because I'm being aware of, so I can let go of pieces of that all along the way. So because it's been ingrained. It's been ingrained in us. It's been put into our DNA. It's been in our families. It's been with us all along. It's been
For
with us all along.
generations,
Yes.
generations, decades.
So being aware of it, that's how we're solving it. That's how we're in the space to solve it because it's being brought to our attention like, oh, hey, you do this. Oh, by the way, you do this too. Oh, by the way, I got this trigger here for you. Oh, what's that all about? That's for us to ask those questions because us asking those questions helps us to alleviate whatever it was that was causing that. And it's not really like it's a bad thing because it's something that we put in place for our own protection, we thought, but it's learning that we don't need it and then letting go of it. Just being aware of it. We don't have to feel all that stuff. We
Yeah.
don't have to. The example is you get a phone call right in the middle of the night. Well, that's usually not a good thing. So because I've had a few of those phone calls and that's how it felt. And then fight or flight would be on. I wouldn't be able to, it wouldn't be able to sleep or anything like that. And now it's like I'm in a different space. I can breathe through it and be okay. Wait a minute. Let's look at this for a minute. See what is it what's the solution with this? Because I can't see the solutions otherwise unless I'm in that space where I'm relaxed and calm, taking breaths, not holding the body in any way, shape, or form. But again, checking in with myself all the time.
Yeah. That's it. Check in with your container.
Yeah.
Feeling.
It's the ship, right? If you think about getting in front of, you get on an airplane and you look and I've seen some of these, the control panels they have, and it's like up above and in front of them, down low. And it's like, holy shit. Like, what do you do? Well, you get to know that whole system. And that's how you don't just sit there and all of a sudden, like, you know how to use it all. You get to know it. And that's what we're doing with these vessels. We're just getting to know these vessels. How
Yeah.
is it filtering the information through it? How can I change? Oh, it feels this way right now. Well, how can I change it? If we looked at it a little bit more detached, like we would look at our vehicle. Well, not everybody looks at their vehicles detached, by the way, but if you can look at your vehicle and be detached from it, then you can you're more aware of what the devices are saying. Oh, you're low on oil, add some windshield wiper fluid. Needs a little bit more fuel. Sometimes we need a little bit more fuel, just depends on the activity and what we went through. It's just paying attention to all the details, all of it, getting to know yourself. That goes all the way back to when you would say, oh, I've been getting to know myself for years. I'm still getting to know myself. We're
Yep.
still getting acquainted. We've been dating for a long time. You didn't say that part, but
Well, I would say, we've been together for a long time, but not really getting to know each other. Dating is about getting to know each other. To me, I
yeah,
mean,
it is. But
spending
we've been
time
getting to
with
know
each other.
ourselves for a long time too.
Yeah. So now it's about getting to know the companion of myself.
Yeah. My higher self. So it's even asking my higher self, like, what would you want to do? What does this look like for you? Would you like to respond to this? Or it just presents a different avenue.
Yeah. Awesome. It's a great conversation, Bev. Thank you.
It was a great conversation. Thank you.
Any final words?
Spend some time getting to know yourself.
Curiosity.
That's right. Like a
Move into
child,
curiosity instead of victim.
100%. You'll see a lot more.
Ah. All right, my friends. Well, thank you for hanging out with us. Tea time with Amy and Bev. And we hope you have an incredible week. It's going to be what you make it. And we'll see you next time.
Absolutely. Have fun.